Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Buried from 2010. It's directed by Rodrigo Cortez and stars Ryan Reynolds and Robert Pattinson. Sure, I listed two names in the starring section I just mentioned, but the only person ever on camera giving a physical performance is Ryan Reynolds. Everyone else is simply a voice over a cellular telephone that Reynolds' character Paul has and uses frequently in this film. Ryan Reynolds sells the shit out of this film. It's about a U.S. driver in Iraq who is being ransomed back to the U.S. government for $1 million, although they do come down from $5 million initially. The thing that makes this a situation you haven't seen before is that Paul wakes up in a coffin buried underground with only 90-something minutes of air and a few items, including a cell phone, to keep in contact with his abductors. It's important to point out that Paul is only a driver for a private company, not private security like Blackwater or a soldier as the abductors thought he was when they placed him in his current situation. The only reason it is important is because now Paul's life hangs in this gray area between the US government and legal eagle bullshit for his company. How the filmmakers were able to make a 95-minute film that all takes place in a man-sized box underground is pure insanity to me. I remember the first time I watched this film, it was mostly out of the curiosity of whether they could pull it off without padding the film with stupid bullshit that doesn't matter, and they really don't. Everything that happens feels like a natural progression, intentional, and important to the plot. This film is tense, really tense, with lots of moments that happen in pure darkness, which made me regret watching it this time around during the day, with daylight pouring in through the drawn curtains in my TV room that ruined the perfect immersion that I imagine people felt seeing this in a darkened theater. The least I could have done was watch it under the cover of night. I should put a sticky note on the DVD or something. Anyway, perfect immersion or not, it was still a terrifying film that had me hanging on every moment. Even though I knew where the film eventually ends up, as that ending is permanently seared into my brain. Oh, and I'm not going to say what happens at around the 1 hour mark, but the first time I watched this movie I was seated with my feet on the ground, and let's just say that this time around I made sure my feet were kicked up on a footstool for the film. Ryan Reynolds does a great job in this film, and the film itself is equally great. Really gripping stuff. I'm going to give Buried an A- because it really gets under my skin. Tomorrow I'll be watching an old slasher film called The Burning. See y'all then.